Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I solve mysteries and do paranormal investigations. And today, I have my own story to share with you guys. I rarely talk about this, but here's one of my experiences. So, I don't know if this is going to be a long story because I feel like it's not that long, but I feel like there's a lot of details that I might be missing. But anyways, I was home alone. And I heard something really heavy being thrown in the corridor, like literally the shaking of the floor, the vibration. Like I was lying in bed and I could feel the vibration of what was being dropped in the corridor. And my boyfriend at the time, I think he was sleeping at his mom's place because I think it was a weekend. So I was home alone. My mom wasn't home yet because she worked nights. So, anyways, I look towards the door. The door to my bedroom is right facing the front door, and I just freeze. Because obviously I thought somebody had broken in, and then I heard several things being tossed onto the kitchen floor. Now, my kitchen is at the end of the hall, and I could hear the items being tossed around, but they weren't loud noises. They were just kind of like thump, 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 like soft thumps. But the vibration that I felt in the bed was definitely from something heavy. It wasn't just like random stuff being tossed around. There was definitely some weight behind whatever was being dropped. That's when I grabbed a knife. Not like a big knife, it was more so like a butter knife. And I texted my boyfriend at the time and I said, "Get over here now." And I sent him like 10 texts. He didn't respond, so I don't know if his phone was off or whatever. But then he calls me, and I'm on speaker because I was too scared to hold the phone because I thought whatever was making the noise could hear me talking into the phone. And I said, "Get over here as fast as possible. Somebody's in the house. Something's going on." And he was very skeptical. Now, we lived together, so he knew that I was always paranoid because I would randomly get freaked out. So he was like, "Okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes. But I knew that the time it took him to drive over and get inside the house and walk through the front door, that I could easily be dead by then. So I started texting my best friend and my sister. And my best friend responded first and she was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I need you to call my mom. Tell her to come home now." And I told my sister the same thing. I told her to call my mom. And then my sister responded. She said, "Don't worry, sis. Everything's gonna be fine." This was my sister, by the way. This was my sister. So I don't know what she was trying to do, trying to comfort me, but she wasn't there. So I don't know what she was trying to do. Anyways, I sat there in the bedroom for hours. It probably wasn't that long, but to me it felt like forever because I couldn't see outside. My bedroom window, it doesn't face outside. It faces the backyard. So I couldn't even see outside. So all I could do was listen, and I just kept hearing stuff being tossed around in the kitchen. Like I could hear cabinets opening and closing. I could hear dishes being tossed around. I could hear little glass jars like being tossed around and breaking. It sounded like someone was cleaning out the cupboards and just completely destroying everything. That's the only way I can describe it. And I was just sitting there hugging a pillow because I never got out of bed. I was too scared to get out of bed, and I just hugged a pillow and waited for morning. When my mom got home, she goes straight to the kitchen. She opens the kitchen door and starts looking around. And this was her reaction. I sent her pictures of everything that was going on. And she said, "What the hell? Why is the vacuum scattered across the corridor?" And I said, "I don't know." She said, "Why is the tea all over the floor? Why is the salt and pepper, all the condiments scattered across the floor?" And I said, "I don't know." And she was speechless. She was shocked. And I don't think she believed me because I guess she thought that I was just playing a prank on her. She thought that I was playing a huge prank on her because she said, "Where's your boyfriend? Where's so-and-so?" And I said, "He's not here." And she said, "You know he's not here because he's not answering his phone. But where is he?" And I said, "He's not here, I swear." And she believed me after that. So we got a camera for the kitchen, which was basically like a baby monitor. It had a camera and a microphone, and I could watch it from my bedroom. So we set that up after that night. And for a while, it was fine. For months, nothing happened. We didn't see anything on the camera. Then one day my mom came home and there was ketchup all over the floor again. And then another time she came home and there was mustard all over the floor. And then another time she came home and our dog food was all over the floor. My dad suggested putting traps in the kitchen to catch whatever was doing this. But I don't know what kind of trap would catch. I don't know what kind of animal it is. So we never did that. Then, one time my boyfriend at the time and I were home alone. Well, he was home alone, and I was home alone. We were both home alone, but together. And we were watching the camera and we saw the dog food being tossed across the floor. Then we heard a bang, and we couldn't see anything on the camera. So we started yelling in the kitchen and we never saw anything. The last time this happened was about 1 or 2 weeks ago. We were home alone, just my mom and I. We were both just home alone, but together. And we were watching the camera. And we saw the condiments being tossed across the floor again. Like the salt and pepper shakers, the sugar containers, the cream, the butter, all the little packets of stuff that we keep in the bottom cupboard. They were being tossed across the floor. And then my mom and I started yelling. Then we started making tons of noise. And the moment we did, the screen went black and we lost signal on the baby monitor. And since then, it's been quiet. We still don't know what is going on. We cannot figure out why things are being physically moved, especially in the kitchen. We are desperate ATP. We don't know what to do. I don't know if it's an animal because I don't live close to a farm. And even if it was an animal, how would an animal know where the salt and pepper shakers were? How would an animal know where the sugar bowl was? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, that is my experience. I don't know if this will ever be solved. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions, but we will try anything at this point. We are desperate. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel.